Not sleeping. Thinking. I'm thinking it must be in the mid-30s out there. I'm thinking that this is the second week of my third spring getting the restoration work up and running on this old camp, and that every year, at this very moment, I lie in bed thinking through lists upon lists of all the designs, builds, projects, small jobs and big jobs that I can't wait to get started, but at the same time there's so many I don't know where to start or how to prioritize them, and maybe I'll just stay right here a little longer. Okay. Some version of the phrase, "there's better things you could be doing with your time," runs through my head more often than it should, and it can really freeze me up, especially when it's actually cold. In early May, fire and coffee are critical tools of the trade. And when I feel stuck, the solution seems to be to allow myself to get to work on absolutely anything that presents itself or appeals. Getting to work is the key. Labor begets labor. And even if the thing isn't the thing I should be doing, I accept all that as part of the process to get me there eventually. And 6:25. While it's still below 40 outside, I'm going to edit a bit by the fire. You know, something I really never appreciated until I owned my own house and now my own camp is how amazingly quickly everything falls apart if it's not being constantly taken care of, especially the exterior. Mother Nature really tears things up if you're not on it. And around here, unlike San Francisco, I've found that the Mother Nature battle is occasionally fought with fire. Fire's the theme of the morning, it seems. About once a summer, I pull a burn permit and take care of the big burn pile up in a big open field. At this point, with this, I will hang out, keep the fire really small but still doing its thing, and take the time to notice things like the fact that it was exactly a week ago, that the birch tree was just starting to produce leaves. A lot happens in a week. If nothing else, I'm warmed up at this point. Could absolutely do this all day. But I'm going to let the fact that one of the toilets is running full time and both sinks are leaking dictate the projects for the rest of the day. I started rounding up all these downed branches and leaves yesterday, and there is a lot of them, and more to be done. Leaves come down this hill and pile up behind the camp in a mountain in the fall. And it feels good to start getting things sorted out here. That's a good Reuben. What's in the big box is exciting, but I'm going to leave it in there until I've debranded it. What's in here is from a San Francisco company I'm happy to provide exposure to. They're called Tellison, and they make clothing, and they make it in San Francisco. And this might be my new work jacket. Colorful for me, but it is the exact hue of the Golden Gate Bridge, industrial orange. It comes with a pencil in the pencil pocket. Gotta like that. Sadly, still a little too cold today. Starting work with the upstairs sink. This entire drain is original and heavy cast metal with this big P-trap that you can open and close to drain and clean. And I know why, but why did we stop making them like this? Damn, still leaking. Okay, gonna need more something. Plumber's putty. And downstairs sink. This was updated at some point with a cheap, thin drain assembly, and I'd love to give it something like we just saw upstairs, but where will we find such a thing? Well, when someone is restoring an old car and they get another of that car to use as parts, a parts car, well, this is kind of like that. Welcome to Parts Camp. It's a long story that I will cover in full soon, but our neighboring camp, which is one of the remaining old camps on the lake, changed hands last fall, which is rare. We've gotten to know the new owners, and they are making upgrades and are happy to have me salvage some things to incorporate into our camp, which is lovely. It's partly lovely because I first went online hunting for one of these, and I found a couple, but they were wildly expensive compared to your average old house salvage item. So, a win on all fronts. Headed back with my winnings, found these amazing fungi on the way. There will be a lot of amazing stuff coming out of Parts Camp, much more to come, and I'm thrilled that it's already delivering in a time of need. Cleaning out old plumbing fixtures, especially drains, isn't the nicest job, but these cleaned up nice. I began reassembly and bumped, not that hard, the cold water line, and it started leaking. So I turned off the house water, took it apart, put it back together again, and ran some water to test it. Okay, we seem to be good. Water intake repaired. Now I'm seeing leaks from here. It's no wonder this was leaking. This gasket is pretty rotten. But I don't have one like it, so moving on to something else. This toilet's been running on and off for 2 years. And the temptation is always to replace all these mechanisms, but this one seemed worthy of investigation. What a cool gasket. I like it. Clean that out, oil it, put it back together. Whoa! That little water explosion hit the ceiling and came back down on my head. It seemed like this whole thing was just filled with a bunch of grit, as happens, so clean it out, put it back together. That worked. Altering the salvaged bits and pieces to fit their new home, packing every joint with plumber's putty along with gaskets for belts and suspenders, and making a gentle, soft fit, and crossing fingers. Working with old plumbing isn't an exact science. I always find there's lots of crossing of fingers. But in this case, great success. That leak believe it or not, is the hot water line. Not done. Okay, I guess leak number 4. All right, that makes sense. So turn off the house water supply again and take everything apart, clean it, put it back together again. A side benefit to this is that this sink hasn't been cleaned or descaled, if that's the term, this well in decades, I'm sure. And I am thrilled to report that I only had to do this once after turning the water back on and testing it. No leaks. The floor under this, despite the fact that it's been dripped on for ages, was not terribly rotten. So a little tung oil to polish things up and help out the dried wood. And she is so glorious that I'm now fired up about this little bathroom, and despite the late hour, can't stop now. Well, that's satisfying. I wasn't expecting to do any of that today. We go where things take us. After I got this entire sink functioning, safe to say it is fully restored at this point. After that was done, I decided to keep going. This little bathroom oddly had 2 doors, one here and this one. I took this one up to the tent and planed the bottom of it so it can actually open and close, which it hasn't been able to do in a long time. And this one, I took off the hinges and hardware and just nailed it to the frame. No longer a door. I put a towel rack on it and here, which I salvaged from the camp next door, and put in this toilet paper holder, also salvaged from the camp next door. And we now have 2 rooms of 11. 2 of 11. Ready for the summer. I should update the to-do list for this room. Downstairs bathroom. Electrical. New toilet. Patch, trim, and paint. Strip paint on the toilet paper holder. Refurbish the sash window. So, done for the summer. On the road to Dun with a functioning nightlight. Yeah, maybe I'll tackle this room tomorrow. In the middle of all that plumbing, in the middle of all that turning on and off of the water supply, our local helpful plumber came and fixed the hot water heater. Again, for the 2nd summer in a row, the hot water heater didn't fire up. So to celebrate having hot water, I'm going to cut my hair such that it is, and not take a shower because I haven't built the shower yet. I will take a tub in that adorable tiny little tub. But wait, can't call it a day without fixing the other sink. I will continue to rely on plumber's putty to hold all of these ancient plumbing fixtures together. Thank you, plumber's putty. Now I make myself presentable. No. Now I find a towel. Oh, did I get lucky? I don't much buy into luck, but sometimes there are more than 20 bags of soft goods in here. Hit it on the first one. Eight o'clock. A dinner of baked beans and cornbread, because we're in Maine, and an evening of a little video editing and something that's a little bit exciting, depending on what you consider exciting. So here we are looking down on the 4-acre lot, but down here in Camp Central, largely everything that's dark gray is new construction. What I'm thinking about right now is a rebuild of the existing porch and this walkway along the west of the building, a covered walkway taking you to the kitchen entrance, and a small walkway taking you over here to the eventual stairs. The reason I am revisiting this design is that I'm on the hunt for lumber, and current thinking is to use Alaskan yellow cedar. So everything that's highlighted now will be unpainted cedar, and I need to develop a rough cut list to start the hunt for this lumber. So that is what I'm working on this evening after I eat my beans. Cheers. So that was a classic day of coping with an overwhelming to-do list. And when I allow myself to wander into whatever work presents itself and whatever work interests me, like I did today, I do remind myself that even if no great progress was made on big ticket items, a worse outcome would be to remain so blocked that no progress is made on any front. And yes, simply getting to work always leads somewhere. Painfully obvious statement, I know. But proof in the pudding, I now have, unexpectedly, a wrapped up downstairs bathroom. I would even say that the work in the end was done efficiently because I somehow managed to wander myself sideways into a productive workflow. So, progress. Hello. It's Wednesday. Wednesday? The next day. Anyway, I'm sneaking in some updates. First of all, it is 80 degrees, which is absurd. I don't know who's dialing in this weather, but they need to calm down. So now it's too hot to wear my new work jacket, studio, shop jacket. Don't know what to call these, but I've spent years looking for the perfect one. This one's pretty good. It's denim, so it'll wear in over time like a good pair of jeans. And the pocket arrangement is great, though it seems backwards to me. I'm right-handed, and I'm constantly reaching for my pencil and flashlight over here. They're here. I can get used to that because this has a pocket for glasses, but with a bit of alteration, it can be for a Leatherman. I've always wanted to be a Leatherman guy. And also, what was in the big box? This bad boy. I've had a small electric chainsaw. I've got a forest to deal with. I'm upgrading. I have safety equipment on the way too. I'm not gonna mess around with this bit of gear. And one more thing. So much of what this channel has evolved into is thanks to the community that is involved with it and the community that supports it, including channel members. And as always, most sincerely, I thank my members with an MVP chalkboard of fame thanks going out to this crew.